What to do? Rain gives us pain, the day goes in vain. But the fun of Cricbuzz Chatter we shall sustain. The only fun bits that's happened today for us cricket fans. Dinesh Karthik joins me once again on Cricbuzz Chatter. DK, it must have been a dash from the stadium to the hotel because you knew fans were waiting. It must have been extremely frustrating for the crew, the commentators, the players. This is not what cricket fans want on a Saturday.
First of all, slow clap. I love the starting intro. Well done. Great job. That has been the
Go
only
on.
highlight. That has been the only highlight of this day so far. It's been a very grim, quiet day. I have this habit of just taking a photo and telling the viewers what the exact situation is, and it never nearly got better. I woke up at about 6:45 to get ready. I took a photo at 7:45. It was the same. 8:45. It was the same. 9:45 also the same. So I was thinking nothing much improved in terms of light. It's been a very cloudy, dull day with a lot of drizzle. The good part is the ground is completely covered. That is the positive. Also, the sad part is a lot of fans actually thronged to the stadium. It is only in these smaller venues that you see the amount of passion India has for cricket. They come in big numbers, and there's a good crowd when I was going to the ground, and you thought, poor guys have to wait for some time before the game could start, and eventually one thing led to another, and the match just wouldn't start, and they had to call it off, and the timing was correct too.
Before we get to the cricket, DK, what's the score update on the Green Park Foot Volley Championships?
So there are two teams, Team Abhishek Nair, then there was Team Rishabh Pant. We managed to beat them 2-0. Went for a long time though.
And thankfully, it's an indoor sport, foot volley, which the Indian team indulged in with a couple of the commentators. But the cricket is where it was at stumps yesterday. Was also an early end to the day's play, and things stand exactly where they were. As I said, 107 for three. None of these players came out. Mominul Haq and Mushfiqur Rahim, the not out batters who kept waiting and waiting, but they never got a chance to come back to the field. I believe the Indian team went back as well to the hotel. As I said, it is extremely frustrating, but players these days, I'm sure in your time as well, would figure a way to keep themselves engaged and entertained. What was it like in your days?
Thank you. You just woke me up from a nice sleep, and then you're making me feel very old. What we used to do those days in your time. The same thing, yeah. Just come to the hotel room, chill, wait, hope the manager would send a positive message saying, let's get on with it. But that never came along. And the boys just found a way. A lot of them will be doing a little bit of gym today. That's one thing that they do. Yesterday, I had the opportunity to have a bit of a meal with KL Rahul, and you could see they were excited about this test match. They want to play, but they also know the back of their minds, rain is around the corner. Period. It is something that they have to live with for this test match. And interestingly, a lot of the test matches that have been in Kanpur have been draws, and you can understand why. For mainly because the pitch is not one where it's been easy to get wickets, but B at times because of the rain also.
I suppose the rain, that much rain helps contribute to the green part of the Green Park stadium. But just 3 days left now. Hopefully, they will be played tomorrow and then day after and on day 5. If there is play for these 3 days, do you see a result possible? If yes, how do you see these two teams approaching day 3, 4, or 5?
Draw. Manish? Draw, Manish. Let's make it very clear. It is a very hard probability for any sort of result to happen. And I'm happy you haven't asked me anything, because beyond this, even if I speak about Akashdeep, he'll still come and tell you, Bhaiya, bas karo, kitna baat karogi mere baare mein. So I'm happy you're asking about the future, but it does look like draw. Not so much the pitch, that also plays a massive part, but the fact that rain has been forecasted for the next couple of days as well. So, we're not going to have full days play. If there's a rain delay, what does happen is they add 7 overs to the 90 overs. So you will get 291 overs ideally. And now that amount of overs, then you have a chance to say maybe a result is possible. But the fact that there's rain forecasted for the next couple of days as well, I don't think 290 overs is going to take place, and hence result would most probably be a draw.
Right. It's been pouring so much that there is a public interest litigation, I suppose, to change the name of the city to Kanpur. It should stop pouring,
Oh,
hopefully. Another bad joke. I promise that's the last for the day. But we've got a few questions. Let's take the first one. In fact, let's just take one. But it's a good question since there's been so much chatter around the weather and especially the drainage facility. Anurag Prabhu wants to ask you, should India limit test status to 5 centers only?
a couple of things when you answer that. A few of the countries do go through that kind of scenario where they only have 5 test centers. For example, in Australia, to a large extent, England as well, they have 6, 7. What does happen when you just nominate 5 centers in a place like India, in the tier 1 cities or the metros? It is a fact that there's been a dwindling amount of interest in the test format. So even if you host a test in one of these major centers, the fact is people are not watching test cricket as much as they do. So sometimes on the TV, it doesn't paint the right picture. Kanpur is a great example. It is a tier 2 city, and you see people. I'm not sure if it's tier 1 or T2. I don't want to commit to that. But anyway, it is not a major metro. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So you can see people coming in big numbers. It's the financial capital of Uttar Pradesh, and it is a town which hasn't hosted too many matches. Add to the fact that Lucknow has come in and they've found a way to host white ball matches, though Lucknow hasn't been granted the test match status yet. So when a match happens in Kanpur, you can see the interest. So when you take it to the smaller centers, interestingly in India, the crowds come in bigger numbers. For example, when a test match was held in Indore as well, there was a lot of crowd. So that is one. Now, how it works in India is it works as a rotation system. There is totally, I'm not exactly sure that the number is 34 or 36, that amount of associations there, and they rotate matches wherever they get, be it white ball cricket or the test matches. And every association gets an opportunity to host one of these matches, and it keeps going round and round. And and among the test playing centers in India, it is the same process where they go through a rotation and each test match is awarded to each city, which has each center rather, which has a test facility. So at this point of time, as we sit, it is a process that has been going around for a long time, and hence they have stuck to it. But more importantly, in the smaller venues or rather smaller cities of India, interestingly, Test cricket has had a bit more of a viewership on the ground, which is always a good sign and a healthy sign for Test cricket.
Hmm. Well, it's a pity that we are where we are in this test match. However, in one of our neighboring countries, there is a fascinating contest on between Tim Southee's New Zealand and Dhananjay De Silva's Sri Lanka. And I suppose world cricket has found another test batting star who is making life easier for headline writers. It's been a commendable performance. Kamindu Mendis, have you been hearing about him as well, DK?
Have I been hearing? I must be under a rock if I have not heard about him.
Has there been chatter about this man in the commentary box as well?
Quite a bit. Unfortunately, there are no Sri Lankans in our com box yet. But the fact that everybody is a avid cricket watcher tells you that they speak about players who are doing well. And Kamindu Mendis' name is discussed pretty strongly in our com box as well. As to what he's achieved is unreal. I mean, to equal Sir Don Bradman to the fastest to reach 1,000 runs is quite a commendable effort. And the two names that you see on top reached it much quicker, which is Herbert Sutcliffe and Everton Weeks. And just to be in that list is so hard. The only Indian who was close enough was Vinod Kambli, who took, I think, 17 innings, if I'm right. And 3 innings is a massive, in fact, 4 innings is a massive amount of innings to score runs. So the point being, what he has done here is phenomenal. You have to say he's a blockbuster player, and it's not come by chance. If you do go through his stats in domestic cricket, after 50 innings, he averages mid 60s, which is outstanding. And for him today in Test cricket, it's just been a short while, but he's played 13 innings and he's got 500s and 450s. So 9 out of the 13 innings, he's either scored a 50 or 100. And that's flabbergasting. I mean, I'm not able to think of a better adjective other than he is a phenomenal talent. Another player who, started for Bangladesh, had a bit of a start like that was Mominul Haq. He had a very Bradmanesque start, but didn't get the numbers that we're speaking about here. Kamindu Mendis has done one up, or rather one better. But what Kamindu Mendis is doing right now is quite, you know, what do I say? A flabbergasting is what I use, but quite unreal to say the least. Add to the fact that he's not just getting runs in Sri Lanka. I mean, he's got it against England in England. So now when some player does that, that is pretty much, you have to say that it is an effort which is not been matched so far by anybody from that country, and they've had a lot of greats. We're talking about Aravind Distal, Kumar Sangakkara, Mahela Jayawardena, many greats, Sanat Jayasuriya, Dilshan, and a lot of players. And he should be really proud of what he's achieving. But his journey is starting, and it is great to see one batter come in and do that for Sri Lanka, and straight away the results showing as well for Sri Lanka. The way they've played Test cricket in the World Test Championship table as well, they're in a very healthy position. We'll discuss more about that, but it is just an outstanding achievement, one that the whole country will be proud of. And the cricketing ecosystem needs such heroes to come through, because we're getting a lot of heroes in white ball cricket, because there's so much played. It's great to see someone in Test cricket come and set a record for us all to say, wow, now that was special.
Yeah, it's only his eighth Test match, and he's sort of racking up the numbers. He also happens to have the ability to bowl with both arms. He bowls right arm off spin as well as a left arm orthodox. So there's something about this man that he has special skill and great hunger as well. On left arm spin, they've found another Jayasuriya who has completely annihilated New Zealand, and that's the man, Prabha Jayasuriya, very much in the Rangana Herat mold, I've been told, and he ensured that Sri Lanka could enforce the follow-on. So another bowler to watch out for after the Rangana Herat era in Sri Lanka cricket.
Left arm spinners galore in world cricket. What I have noticed in the recent past is there's plenty of good left arm spinners. Prabhat Jayasuriya just joining the list, someone who is again talented. He did play the series against India, didn't find it as easy as he is doing right now in Sri Lanka. He's not the most talented, must agree, but someone who's able to consistently hit length, which is a good skill to have. But what's been very good is if the pitch has been helpful, he makes best use of the conditions, and he's really helped Sri Lanka in the last few Test matches, or the last year or so where he has played. He's made a massive impact for them in the result, and that is very important as a bowler to have.
Mm-hmm. Right, so that was that about this Test match that's going on. But what about the WTC equation? India, Australia, very likely to be the two teams at the final. However, is there an outside chance for Sri Lanka? You reckon there is a chance, given that they are where they are right now, after having played only, in fact, it's the 8th Test match that's on right now for them?
Never say never, Manish. And I think that's what Sri Lanka will be saying, because interestingly, they have 2 matches against Australia. Now, if they're able to beat Australia in those 2 matches, and they would be hoping that India do the similar, or rather India do what they've done in the last 4 tours that they have been there, then it gives them a chance of coming into that World Test Championship final. But you have to say at this point of time, the strong frontrunners would be India and Australia as we sit here. But Sri Lanka have 2 tests in South Africa. Now that is key for them. Going to South Africa and winning a Test match is never easy. Ask any Indian team and they will tell you. So it's going to be a very big task for them. But they do have 2 Test matches at home against Australia. And more importantly, they'll be waiting on the result between India and Australia as well. All things come together and they have a good series at home against Australia, then they have a chance. But as we sit here, must say, I'd put my money on an India versus Australia final.
Well, DK, we've covered a fair gamut of things to talk about without even a single ball having been played. You've already spoken about what's likely to happen if there is play day 3, 4, 5. So we won't go there. But since we've had a rain interruption, not a single ball being bowled, how about you leave us with a story from your playing days of, was there anything fun that you did when there was a long passage of rain and there was no play?
In this same country that Kamindu Mendis is playing right now, Sri Lanka, known generally for some long delays because of rain, and it did happen in Gaul once when the match didn't happen. It's a pretty big dressing room. The one thing that Team India used to do if they've gone to the dressing room is play indoor cricket. And we used to play with a tennis ball, and all we had to do was not get beaten. And Sachin Tendulkar loved bowling. He had all sorts of deliveries. He'll bowl knuckleball, he'll bowl the carom ball, all of that to get batters beaten. And one batsman after the other will keep recycling, going into bat. One pitch, one hand also was out, but he liked the fact that he could get batters beaten. In between, he'll throw a quick bouncer. So that moment for me in Gaul is something that I always remember. When we used to play as a whole team, some people used to bat, like Sehwag used to bat left-handed just for fun and kicks, but it was one of those moments in my international cricket career that is always fondly remembered when you think of a rain break.
Amazing. I just got a lovely feel of Hey CB on Cricbuzz Chatter. That's how things work at Cricbuzz. We try and mix things up as much as we can, but it's been a fun conversation. DK, thanks so much. I hope you have some lovely dinner plans with your friends in Kanpur, and hopefully we'll have a lot of cricket tomorrow. And for our viewers across India, Bangladesh, and wherever else they're watching us from, if you have any questions for DK on Chatter or on Hey CB, just send them away. Shoot them across right away. And we'll try and get you answers from Dinesh Karthik. Thanks so much. And we hopefully will see you with some cricket to talk about on day 3.